everything comes out. You draw after doing push-ups, and you're just sitting there with your pistol going, okay, where's my dot? There it is.
Yep.
Break a shot. Okay, and then you've got moving targets. You're shooting on the move. There's a lot of things that, the competition world brings to light if you've never done that before. So yeah, I highly recommend, anybody who hasn't gotten into the competition space, go out there and try it.
Hey, Team G Code, welcome to another episode of the Range 5 podcast. We got leadership of OA Defense with us here today, Mr. Dave Wollman, right to my next. Since I've not been on social media for the company before, I want to take a quick second to introduce myself. My name is Greg Jones. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for G Code Tactical. Spent about 27 years in the Marine Corps. I was an infantry guy. Did a couple of combat deployments, and most notably my last duty station, I was in charge of small arms marksmanship for the Marine Corps, so pistol and rifle marksmanship. My boss, CEO, founder, president, Scott Evans, is also a Marine, so it was really a natural fit for me. Glad to be here today, and I'll turn it over to the man of the hour, Dave Wollman, president of OA Defense, to talk a little bit about himself and his buddy that he brought with him from Nevada, right?
Yeah, yep. So actually, I'm going to change it up a little bit. So actually, we've got Paul Ross over here. He's our president. I'm just a vice president.
Sorry.
Nope.
He's no worries. Been talking. Damn, I got that. Yeah, maybe we'll edit that out. I'm kidding, but yeah, sorry about that. Sorry about that. I've been doing business with Dave, but
no worries at all. Yeah, so we've got President Paul Ross here and from just a little bit outside of here in North Carolina.
Yeah, so we're about an hour and a half away in the Southern Pines, Pinehurst area. Live on a little farm in Carthage. Retired out of Fort Bragg, so we stayed in the area. And we've got some North Carolina plans for the company coming up.
Okay, and where's the headquarters though?
Out in Nevada. Okay. So right now we are just outside of Reno in a town called Dayton, Nevada. So that's where we do all the manufacturing.
Do some research. So I don't let the audience think that I just woke up on a Sunday morning winging it.
Or we all did, but that's era. But yeah, and then, like I said, I'm Dave. I'm the vice president. I handle the sales and marketing for OA Defense. I'm up from the Philadelphia area, about an hour north of Philly. We've got our sales and marketing office up there, so kind of the front end of the business. Got a team of like 5 or 6 guys up there. So
okay. So what for, obviously you're here in lovely Birdall, North Carolina, doing a podcast inside the G Code factory, but in general, what brings all of you guys to Eastern North Carolina this weekend?
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of twofold, and it worked out really well. So we've got some partnerships in play right now with Savage Tactician. They're based out of Wilmington down here. They do awesome apparel. They just launched a line of t-shirts for us, hoping to do more work with them shortly. Obviously, we've got a partnership with you guys coming up, which we're really excited about, to have you guys making some holsters and various supporting products for our firearm line. But then the other big reason was yesterday we came down for the 2-gun match over at Osprey, which was phenomenal. That was a great time. Their facility there is top notch. We had a great time shooting over there yesterday. So.
Yeah, we'll put some information in the show notes, but definitely I had never been there before. It's in Council, North Carolina. You guys didn't shoot in the tunnel complex, but definitely run by a retired Major General, United States Army, Mr. Grange, who was apparently, I met him yesterday. CG of Big Red Juan was the CO 75th Ranger Regiment, also a Delta guy. So and then his son was in the Ranger Bat. They got a lot of Ranger guys out there. So I mean, what I saw, didn't shoot it, but they put together, looks like pretty decent match, and definitely tactically oriented. And if you got some outstanding firearms that need to be put to the test, it looks like a good place to do it.
Yeah, it definitely was, and it's fun being able to utilize these in a way that they were designed for. We really built these to be used in environments where a lot of other firearms were not going to hold up. And there were stages yesterday where you're crawling through the sand, your holster's getting filled up with dirt and moon dust, and then you're charging your pistol and going to work 2 seconds later. So, and they were running great yesterday, so it was a lot of fun to put them to the test out there.
Yeah, it was a solid course, so it was a lot of fun, especially for us, what would have been stage 3, specifically the pistol course. That was a good time. Little few tricks up the sleeve, but it was fun. And then you're crawling through. I really like the fact that they incorporated physical elements to it.
Oh yeah,
right. And I've done another. I haven't competed in a long time. This time, Dave specifically is like, "Hey man, you gotta come out of the office, come play with the kids." And we had a good time. There's just so much you get to learn about different ways guys carry their kit, how they employ their kit, how they mentally work through scenarios, whether it's purely competition or a tactical environment. Just that thought process is always fun
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely got to train. You're a military guy, I'm a military guy. Got to train it like you fight. And if you don't put your gear to the test in a like scenario, then we need to use it for real. Hopefully you don't need to use it for real, but if you do,
Right.
messes up. So a nice kid, and not a kid, but young man that we know and sponsor was running down range, not with a G code holster, and his entire holster fell off his body during a stage, and that's just something that you don't want. Now he still had a rifle, but yeah, definitely got to put the gun, the optic, the light, all your accessories to the test. How'd you guys like the casualty drag on that station?
That was the first one right out of the gate in the morning.
really?
So right off rip at what was it, 9 a.m., 10 a.m. We're getting started, and yeah, you're dragging a bag maybe 20, 30 yards, and then going to work with the rifle. So that was a fun way to get the rust off in the morning.
Yeah. But I do like doing that stuff too. Again, I was involved with the Marine Corps shooting team, my last duty station, but that was really what we were trying to do is have a realistic competition, but try to take some of the gamification out and just make it as realistic as possible, but definitely getting your heart rate up, getting your heart rate elevated, and then making somebody shoot or making someone think how to negotiate the stage or an obstacle, and then put yourself in a position where you're taking a shot. I think is important because in most ranges you don't get an opportunity to do that. I mean, heck, some of the great ranges around the Wilmington area don't want to say they're not, but again, with most indoor ranges you can't even draw from the holster. Right, and so if you're intermediate shooter or beyond, sometimes it's just difficult because you can't really do what you want to do.
Yeah.
No, I think that's, to me specifically for Osprey, that's the biggest part. Is there were some big boy rules allowed there, right? Like we're gonna shoot, we're gonna transition. You don't have to follow this specifically lined out format. There's 3 stages within the stage. You pick how you want to assault them. And that was awesome, man. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it definitely brings to the forefront some of the things that you need to work on, like you said, whether it's pieces of kit that need to be adjusted, whether it's things that you find out when you are trying to employ a skill set that you think you have, that you've developed stationary on a flat range, and all of a sudden now you're trying to do it with 140, 150 beats per minute. Everything comes out. You draw after doing push-ups, and you're just sitting there with your pistol going, okay, where's my dot? There it is. Break a shot. Okay, and then you've got moving targets. You're shooting on the move. There's a lot of things that the competition world brings to light if you've never done that before. So yeah, I highly recommend anybody who hasn't gotten into the competition space, go out there and try it. And the community is so welcoming too. That you're going to find somebody out there who will take you under their wing. You've got gear that is falling short. They're going to give you what you need and help you get to that next level. Yeah.
No, that's what I've seen. Everybody's nice, and someone's going to win, but that's not what it's about. And then what I didn't realize yesterday is the Marine Corps shooting team, my old unit, was down at Camp Lejeune running a match on base, and then I saw 2 of the guys, great Marines, and that's how dedicated they are to shooting. On their weekend off, now they're traveling from home, and on their weekend off, they found the range, and of course those guys won. But it's their job. By a little it's their job. I mean, I used to tell them if I ever shoot better than them, then they're fired, and they're like, yes, we're fired. But yeah, great opportunity down there, and then obviously thank you for linking us up with the Savtech guys. Again, good Marine-owned business down here in Wilmington. We're interested to do stuff with them on a couple of their shirts, and it's just cool stuff for the 2A space.
Great company. Kevin's another Marine. I don't know why I keep getting surrounded by Marines, but good dude. Values aligned. God, country, the whole shebang. So can't say enough good things about them and that company and the products they bring out.
Like me, you do this for your whole life. You just want to get out, grow a beard, and do something similar. What you're doing on active duty. So can you guys want to talk a little bit about what you shot at the comp, or I don't know if you have those here, or what you might recommend folks to shoot from your product line at OA Defense in a competition or own defense?
Absolutely. I don't think your gun that you ran yesterday is not here, right?
No. So I ran a full-size Pro, but it has a prototype trigger system in it where we're getting ready to release that to our customer base, but it is just waiting to see when that fail point comes, because 10,000 rounds, it's still kicking. We'll see what happens. But Goldfinger was Yeah, Goldilocks, Goldfinger. We haven't really settled on a name
You
yet.
would name all the development guns.
And I really enjoy our full size pros. I need to get her stippled out. But ran like a charm. I was impressed. And one of the comments I made to Dave, like, in my previous life, I competed with a rifle and was not that great with a pistol. And then by proxy of this job, I do a lot of pistol shooting. My rifle shooting has fallen off tremendously.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely different skill sets because they're different weapon systems. I think on what you started talking about, the quality control process, and I think one of the interesting things, and it's also a reason that we're down here. We're talking about doing business together. Quality begets quality. We just walked you through our production facility, talked about some of our own quality control processes. My biggest sort of butt pain as the COO is trying to figure out what to do with our blemishes and our seconds because our quality control process is so high. You guys want to talk a little bit about your testing process? If I'm a consumer of OA Defense products, and I know that is an outstanding built handgun, you want to talk a little bit about how I get that outstanding handgun and how it's not going to fail at a time when I need it most?
Sure. Yeah, and like you said, quality control is everything, but you have to be testing every step of the way to make sure that by the time you have that end product, it's going to meet all of your stringent standards. And so there will be drop off, there will be loss at every step of the process. So something can come out of the machine and it measures a couple of thousands off. Well, that means that couple of thousands can be magnified through the platform with tolerance stacking as you start assembling the rest of the gun. So if it doesn't fit exactly when it comes off the machine, that part goes in a bin and doesn't go into circulation for assembly. That's step one.
They're on an individual part.
Individual on 63 components in most of our pistols. So
That made you feel better when I carry one of those.
yeah. So that's, as we're doing parts manufacturing, and, we manufactured 99% of the parts on this pistol in our building, and they're all made in the US. We have a couple of really good manufacturing partners that help us with some of the polymer injection moldings and things like that. But again, everything is getting QC'd on its way into assembly. It's getting QC'd during assembly. Something doesn't fit upright. If something gets dinged or damaged or scratched, while it's getting put together, that goes in a bin and goes into a personal build or just gets rejected altogether. But it's not going to make it out the door into a gun that somebody is investing in, potentially, protecting themselves and others with. That means something to us. And then, obviously the final stage is actually testing them. So some manufacturers, they'll put one round through the pipe, make sure that it's, shooting correctly and then it's going to hit the target. And that's the end of the testing. We run multiple magazines through every single pistol.
Oh, really?
Yeah, multiple magazines. Our ammo budget is significant. Ammo cost, I should say, but
no, that's important because one round means the gun functions at one time. But if you're putting a couple mags through there, you're actually gonna check to make sure that there's no issues with the cycling or the functioning of the ammo.
Correct, and then the magazines and everything else. Like, you got to make sure that the entire ecosystem, the whole platform, is functioning properly together. That all the springs are working. That all the lubricated surfaces are broken in with each other. So,
and that is the thing. There is a thing to breaking in the gun.
Absolutely.
Actually, I mean, not only you're testing it, you're not damaging it, but you're definitely making sure it's broken in. So when you
starting that process, right,
it's gonna work, and you're gonna get your first mag down range without any issues, and because it's just quality control and very well tested.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we even sent a little card with, there is still some break-in required when you hit your first gun. All of those mating surfaces, the last thing we want to do is put hundreds of rounds down the pipe, and then you get your pistol and go, this looks like it's had hundreds of rounds to it, right? But once we get that the testing initially done, then we take it back completely, pare it down, clean it all the way, reassemble it, and then send it out to the customer.
Oh, that's good to know.
And they're going to be tight when you get them, right? Like, these things are, from the get-go, they are mated together, right? So when they come off of the machine, you got your frame, your slide, and your barrel. Those things are mated, and you'll notice on ours they're all serial numbered together. So as they go through the process, that gun stays together. It's not mixed match parts. It is built together as one piece, and it is hand fit all the way through.
So sounds to me like every gun is basically a custom gun.
It is.
Within reason. And to that end, I mean, you talk about the quality control, right? And those matched sets, those serialized sets, if the slide gets damaged, well, that frame and that barrel is now shot too.
Wow.
Or, they have to get set aside, and we've got to go rebuild another slide and match it up and mate it and serialize it and rebuild that set from scratch. And that might mean blasting it down, sending it back out to coating. I mean, it's a process for sure, but that's the commitment when you want to build, especially in a 1911 platform like this. There's always going to be that hand-fitted aspect to it. It's just the way the guns were designed. And so making that commitment up front that you have to follow that process all the way through manufacturing and keep those parts together.
And then the thing, let's say, so it gets to the customer and nothing is foolproof. We can make it as 99.9 as we want, but nothing's foolproof. So you'll have a customer that's got some sort of an issue, and by God, please reach out to us if you got an issue, because what you'll see is a guy will hop on the social media and he's like, hey man, like I'm running into this issue. What do you see? And we've got a phenomenal customer service team, but there's also a pretty high chance that it's either Dave or myself you're going to end up talking to. Oh, where it's like, hey man, let me walk through this.
Yeah.
We're going to get you fixed. If you're unhappy, I'll replace the whole guy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No,
Do a shipping label and bring it back. You fix it, whatever needs to happen.
I think it's awesome. Again, a lot of similarities. We didn't even talk about this before the podcast, but we have actual human beings that are from the local area that know the product, that have worked here for. One of our guys in customer service worked here for 7 years, and we generally try to hire gun people just so they're knowledgeable of the industry. Our problem now. It's a good problem to have, but we have a lot of different products that we provide holsters for. So yeah, having knowledgeable customer service, having a trustworthy, solid warranty, same thing that we do. Actually, I think I don't know why Josh, my videographer, put this up here, but this is a holster that someone's dog chewed up. And absolutely, we had it happen because we gave another one. I've heard nobody talked to me about this one. I wouldn't have swapped that out because gear drift, you let your dog chew it up. You're not getting another whole shit.
But not down, right?
Yeah, but we do. That's an excessive example, but like you all, we stand by our product, and if it don't work right, and call us and get it figured out. And if it's our fault, you're definitely getting a new one for free.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to. You got to take care of your customers, and it's in the beginning it was fun because the guns were just this figment of an imagination and this prototyping thing. And I originally came into OA, and I was the guy that was sent out to basically shred apart the gun. It's like, oh shit, these things are actually really good. And then as we moved, and now that LE are starting to pick it up, there are some elements within the various militaries that are using them, and you're like, now it's serious, right? Like somebody's life, somebody's family depends on this gun. It's got to be perfect every single time.
Yep, no, I definitely agree. Our boss, quality is all we sell. That's our moniker. But again, when you're running quality gear, on your worst day in the military, you get shot at, law enforcement get shot at or detained, a non-compliant criminal, the last thing you need to have fail is your gear to fail. And so again, similar tenets between the two companies with G Code and OA Defense is we're committed to the highest quality possible. One that my boss is military, I'm military, you're military, but now for us, because we're getting older, my 2 kids are cops, and my boss's son is in boot camp to be a Green Beret. So then it started personal really for Scott. I think like we talked before, how did you get to this product? Well, Scott got to our product because he never got issued gear that he liked. So then he just made a company where it's really easy for him to get the gear that he liked because he designed it and made it. But then when you start getting friends involved, kids involved, like you said, really actually starting to sell to military law enforcement, and we meet these people, right? Either via phone or in person. We do a lot of stuff on base and with local law enforcement. It definitely becomes personal because you're helping someone protect themselves or your community.
Absolutely.
Would you guys want to talk a little bit about the products that you brought? They look pretty cool. You let me have to touch them beforehand, so I was playing with that. Yeah,
they're not to look pretty. They're to be tortured and abused.
Yeah, I mean, we joke about it internally and even externally in some cases, but we never designed these or intended for our guns to be safe queens. That's not what they're for. If you want a pistol that's just going to look pretty, go buy somebody else's gun. I mean, listen, you can do it. They're awesome looking guns, but that's not what they're designed for. They're meant to be run hard, put away wet. And that's why, when we designed these, we touched on it a little bit before the podcast, but my background, I'm a nobody. I'm just a 3-gunner. I'm a guy who was shooting competition in multi-gun, and I said, why do I have to spend $5,000 to get a trigger, that I want in a hammer-fired gun, and then deal with the compromises or the sacrifices of having to go to the performance end of the spectrum and leave the reliability side of the spectrum? So, when we developed these, and for anybody who's not familiar, these are OA 2311 line of pistols, or part of the lineup anyway. We've just got a couple of selections here that we brought with us, but they really were designed from the ground up to bring you all of the performance of those high-end race guns. So think your double stack 1911s, things like that, without having to sacrifice that reliability. So we developed it around a magazine first and foremost that was designed for 9mm. So a lot of people see these and think, oh, is that a 2011 or another double stack 1911 style pistol magazine? It's not. They run on a SIG 320 magazine. So again, if you're not familiar with the platform, I'll kind of run through some of the features, but so it runs on a SIG P320 mag. It's a completely linkless barrel. So one of the things that we really touched on when we developed these was how do we get rid of those pain points in other firearms that are kind of in this category, if you will. And having the linked barrel, a bushing in the front, a proprietary recoil system that makes takedown and field stripping a little more complicated. We got rid of all of that. Okay. So we did.
Yeah, I got a mark from a custom 1911 that my father-in-law has. I got a mark in my ceiling. I didn't exactly know what I was
from more than the dad right out of the front.
Yeah, the spring goes up, and I think I painted over it. I think, but yeah, I was a little surprised when that shot up into my ceiling in my living room.
Well, and again, you talked about it. If you're using this in the field in any kind of a duty application, you need to be able to maintain it. You have to be able to take it down without parts flying all over the place and having to, keep tools on your pocket. So, moving to a linkless barrel and slide setup was, a big one for us. External extractors, so you don't have to tune an internal extractor. They're a lot less finicky. And then a completely ambidextrous design. So, we didn't want to leave the lefties behind, or, God forbid you have to switch to your weak side at some point. You can do that. All the controls, we have a patented slide stop that is on both sides. We've got our ambidextrous safety wings, ambidextrous thumb ledges that are built in, which gives you a really good tactile index point, both for driving the gun with your support side thumb, but also for your trigger finger. So when you're coming in and out of holsters or anywhere else, you have that tactile, repeatable index point on the gun, which is especially great for if you're teaching shooters, things like that, to establish their grip. And then, the lineup itself runs from our compact model, which is the 4 1/4 inch barrel, 15 round magazine that's kind of designed around an EDC application, all the way up to our full size guns. These are the new Pro Elite models that we launched at SHOT Show this year. So those are our full size guns, full metal construction, CNC aluminum grip module, that again was designed really by the guys who said we need something that is going to stand up to the rigors and the abuse of competition and duty use, and we need something that has a little bit more grip and purchase on it than what a polymer grip is going to provide. So moved up to the aluminum grip modules for the elites. So
if you're gonna pay a decent dollar amount for a pistol, why have to put like athletic tape or sandpaper on the hand grip? Just so you're getting a gun at a great price point with all the details considered.
Mm-hmm. And then you touched on price point and kind of value, right, for what you're getting. And that was another big thing for us. We were tired of buying guns. You spend all this money. It comes with a magazine or two. And then the first thing you have to do is turn around and go spend another, $500-$600 on magazines. So all of our models, our standard models, are going to ship with 3 mags in the case. And our pro models all ship with 5 mags in the case. So you're getting the entire pretty much loadout that you need to go from your local gun shop straight to the range, to a competition, whatever it may be. You've got that, everything you need. And speaking of magazines, we were fortunate enough to partner with Magpul. So all of our pistols are now shipping with Magpul's new 320 pattern magazine, which is a fantastic mag, stainless steel body, nice high-vis orange follower in there. And just really nice construction. They've been really reliable for us. And obviously, Magpul is a staple in the industry. Again, great people to work with.
Yeah, no, so great value add for the customer. And we're still working out some of the details on how we partner, but in general, that was what we've talked about, is eventually your customers are going to get one of our holsters to be another value add to an already great value on a really high-end pistol at a decent price point with, Magpul mags, and then eventually a G-Coil holster.
Right. And I think one of the big key points to that is that in this agreement, we're doing it so well for the customer that it will not change the price point of our weapon system for the customer, right? They'll just, when this is done, and the holsters shipping, it's just going to ship with it. So you've got your magazines, you've got your optics plates. Ours doesn't come with one optics plate. It comes with the big.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's good, because that's another big
right. But and now you've got a holster in there. So it's like, hey, man, we want to have this universe where, in my mind, I look at it as a young police officer or young soldier who, let's be completely honest, they're woefully underpaid.
Oh,
that's what they do.
Absolutely.
Now you've got a gun that you can reliably carry for duty.
Yep.
You can reliably compete with it. And then if you need to, you can EDC it. So one of the things that we talk about, like on these, And yes, YouTube world, I'm aware of the condition of my guns.
They were all checked before we started.
Right. We get a lot of comments about why our magazine wells look the way we do. And it's because they're interchangeable, they're modular, right?
wow.
So if you want EDC, yes, you can put this small little 15 round magazine well on there.
Okay.
But then you can turn around for competition or for a big duty use and drop on the plus model, and now you've got 2 more rounds in the chamber. So they do look different, but it is very. It's there for a reason. There was a thought process that went into them, just like every other company.
The biggest thing that I heard is, when I buy my 08 defense handgun, that thing is coming ready to shoot, and the only thing I need to do, if I want to do it, is add an optic or a light. And then for the optic, you're making it easy because
Plate's already in there.
Yeah, the plate's already in there, and that is frustrating, having to buy an extra plate or screws or something like that. So you're literally going to have a package where that handgun is ready to go to the range from the gun store.
Yeah, and that was it's again a side effect in a positive way of everybody involved in this team are all gun guys. So we've all been there. We've all bought guns, and we sit there scratching our head, going, "Why is nobody solving these problems for us?" And so not only coming into it with that mentality, but then listening to our customers who are saying, "Hey, we need X, Y, or Z." Halfway down the road to development, we were already supplying the Delta Point, RMR, and RMS footprint plates.
Oh yeah.
But then we started getting feedback from guys and saying, "Hey, I want to put an acro on my pistol. I want to put an SRO on my pistol, and a slightly different form factor." So we pivot, we get those plates out, and now that we can open up and expand that ecosystem. So trying to just lower the barrier of entry and kind of answer some of those questions before they have to be asked is a big part of the mindset.
Well, then you also position yourself where you can sell to a very broad cross. Well, I'm messing my words up here. I'm getting old, but a very large cross section of firearms customers, because you could sell to someone that wants a high end 1911 platform from you all, but they don't have to figure a lot of stuff out if they're not overly knowledgeable. And then on the other end, that gun minus the optic and the light is competition ready, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah, and you talked about too, in terms of cross section and kind of widespread adaptability, even coming from like the dealer's perspective. It's important for dealers to be able to kind of put together packages when they have a customer in their store. And the nice thing about offering all those like optic plates in there, for example, is no matter what gun store you go to purchase one of these from, there's going to be an optic or 10 that they already sell that's going to drop right on that. And then so you can get that whole kit that you need right there in one stop.
And then similarly, the holster version that's going to come with these guns, just like your pistols ambidextrous, our holsters ambidextrous, RMR cut, it'll come with OWB, IWB options. So again, I think very good pairing between two different high quality companies. That your pistol, our holster, again, it could be someone that's just starting out owning a handgun that's not sure if they want to go concealed carry, to someone that wants to have a gun that can run it in comps and run it the same pistol in the comp, to maybe appendix carry with a couple of different, maybe no modifications, or like you were saying, 1 or 2 modifications based on the options that you all offer. So
yeah, and that's one of the things exciting for us about partnering with G-Code on this holster development project, is because we are all about versatility. And these can be adapted to so many different end uses and different kinds of customers. And so working with you guys on that holster, like you said, to have something out of the box that is going to at least meet the needs of all of these different applications. Now, you might want something that's going to specialize. Get yourself set up a duty holster after the fact, or something slightly different, but it at least gets you started and gives you something to solve that problem right out of the gate.
Sure.
And obviously once you guys get through the whole development process, having all of those other holster options available too, then they can figure out, all right, I've been using this one for X application 90% of the time. I'm going to pick up the right project for that end use thing.
And that's what we'll do. I think we'll get the prime carry with your pistol, but then obviously everything, especially for G-Code users, Phenom and Eclipse are high end. Concealed carry holsters, we'll make those as well. We'll make level 2 duty options. So again, and then we have just a massive amount of attachment capability. So you can, again, take that same holster that comes in the box, put it with an RTI system that'll allow you to take that on your battle belt to the range, or use an RTI adapter system for a vehicle. But then that's just all, with a couple extra pieces for the holster that comes with that gun. But then, like you said, you could get into all the other different options and Gucciify it with our higher end concealed carry holsters. But again, allows a customer that maybe is just getting into firearms and wants to go for top end value up front, or someone that's been doing this for a while and just really they're ready to go. So I think it's pretty awesome. Did you guys, is there any specific, you talked about a lot of stuff, and I think for
I do that sometimes.
well, so you're the vice president and marketing guy, right? You guys, like, that's your job, and to me, I think you did a great job explaining it. But maybe for some of the folks on the smaller end that maybe aren't that familiar, can you show some of the options? You know, you were talking about ease of taking the pistol down, standard 1911.
Yeah, no,
Show some of that.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, this is actually the gun that I ran the match with yesterday, so it's going to be a little bit messy. But again, we're clear. We're clear. So the takedown is really very simple. You're just going to pop the. Sorry, I can't see in the lighting here, but you pop the slide stop out the side.
Okay.
The whole upper comes off.
That's it.
That's it. And what's nice about this is, you know, when we designed this, part of the idea was how do we lower that barrier of entry from guys who are coming from striker-fired pistols and want to get into the hammer gun world.
Yeah, that's sort of where I'm interested now, because we went from hammer to striker, and I don't fully understand why people might want to go back to hammer. So I think this is a good discussion for people like me that maybe are wondering why.
100%. So let's back it up for a minute, right? What's the best part about a 1911 pistol? It's the trigger. So getting that really short, exactly. And I don't want to drop this on the empty frame here, but you know, having that really short trigger and a very short reset, you can't get that out of a striker pistol, because with a striker pistol, the whole mechanism is just different. There's more parts that are under load. With a single action hammer fired pistol, all you're doing in that firing process is releasing that hammer and sear engagement point. And so you're able to have a much finer, lighter, crisper, shorter trigger. It's a straight pull design, so it just works better with the geometry of your finger, and you're going to be able to put more precise shots on target with that trigger system. So
there's less going on with the mechanics of the gun.
That's exactly right. And so, you know, what the design ethos behind it was, how do we get that 1911 trigger feel, performance, accuracy, precision, and put it into a platform that is not going to be as foreign as making a jump to a lot of the, you know, the other pistols that are out there in this realm. So again, you know, once you take this down, you're going to see things that you're familiar with, right? So you have your normal recoil assembly, which is just your guide rod and your recoil spring. And then you've got your barrel that comes out of the slide the same way as any other striker gun you've played with.
No dents in the ceiling.
Yeah, nothing got launched out there. The camera's still in good shape. We didn't crack the lens. You know, so again, being able to just take it down, lubricate it, maintain it, field strip it, anything, it's just a much simpler process.
Definitely. I mean, you literally are looking at 1, 2, 3 parts right there. I guess with the slide rule. Yeah, this is a lot.
That's really it. You know, so it makes it really easy. You know, what do you want to grab?
But what I do want to focus on right here, we're talking about. Go ahead. I don't want to steal your fun.
No, please.
All right. So we do have built into here debris clearing channels.
Okay.
And it's part of, when we talk about it can drag through the dirt, through the mud, through the sand. We've buried them in those things. Really thrown them against rocks. We dry fire, like we beat.
That hurts my heart a little bit. Having a pistol, it's nice you actually threw it in the rock.
Throw it in the rock. And, you know, the video are out there. You can fill them with sand, and these clearing channels they expel as the gun cycles. Now you can tell that it's
oh yeah, sure,
right. You're gonna feel it.
Yeah,
but it's still going to recycle.
Yeah, that's the important thing. I mean, yeah, if you're at that point, if you're in that situation where you actually need your gun to function, you're not concerned about scratching inside or out with some sand or dirt at that point. You just want it to work. That's amazing. So you can feel the grit and feel and hear the grit and the dirt inside the weapon, but it still functions.
Yeah, Lauren, what's funny is, and you mentioned, I was actually looking at the guide rod when he said that. That's all of the like sand and debris from the match yesterday. That's on the guide rod.
I can't see it on camera, but that is.
Yeah, it's dirty.
Dave did not clean his weapon after he shot.
He did not. It does not to the Ranger standard at all. But in all fairness, I don't think any of us clean these things. That's one of the things we're trying to figure out. At what point does it get so dirty that it lines up, and it hasn't yet.
Are you guys looking at, have you tracked round counts?
Oh, we're well over 30,000 in some guns, and they still,
without
a little bit of,
like a field cleaning,
as long as they're wet.
Yeah, as long as you keep the lubrication in there on the critical points, it's just going to keep running.
Now, we're not advocating not to clean your weapon, but if you're in an environment,
but if you're lazy,
if you're like us and you like shooting and not cleaning, then this is an ideal setup for you.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in some environments overseas where it doesn't matter what you do, you're like you had said,
infiltrating it immediately after you're done.
Especially if you're, how about water environments? I mean, I would assume it would hold up around here, Eastern North Carolina. It's really humid. You're probably in and out. I mean, if you're in I'm a Camp Lejeune guy. If you're walking around in the woods, that thing's getting wet, either from sweat or you're in a creek or something like that. Is a whole
We've had combat divers run them in and out.
That one right there. Yeah.
In dive operations in saltwater.
really holds up well against saltwater.
Yep. So every part on the gun is either 70-75 aluminum or stainless steel.
Oh wow.
So there's no mild steel in
Yeah.
the gun. So yes, it's either 17-4 stainless. Our barrels are 416R stainless, and then all of the other critical components are either S7 tool steel, which is then DLC coated. So you have all of the corrosion resistance on it. But yeah, there's very little in the pistol to be susceptible to corrosion.
Yeah, that goes to me. I'm thinking going back to the cross section of your customers. Right now, if you're an operator and you're going to do all of the things that we're talking about, you're definitely putting OA handgun on top of your list. And if you're on, the newer level and a customer and you're looking to get into the market, you might not even understand what we talked about. You just need to know that thing's going to run, whether you throw it at a rock, throw it, bury it in dirt, or you don't know what you're doing and you don't fully understand the importance of weapons maintenance. That's gonna run when you need it to run. That's what I'm taking out of it.
If you're new to guns, it's like buying the Denali Ultimate version right off the rip. You're not going to go down in guns ever again.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, buy once, cry once. I was told, and I have unfortunately learned that the hard way. And it's a lot easier. That's where I'm at. Is it's a lot easier to just get what you want with all the things on it than, like you had mentioned, getting aftermarket parts, and before you know it, you actually spent more on, especially with gun and finding a good gunsmith. You spent more on upgrading the pistol than you probably would have just going with top line pistol out of the box. So
Absolutely.
okay. Is there anything else you want to share on pistols that we need to know about?
Oh man, I'll be honest. So when I talk to people about the guns, I don't have just this fancy sales pitch. Here's my gun, go shoot it. Yeah. Right. And the gun, like you saw yesterday, everybody that picked one of these up and fired them, the first two words out of their mouth were, "Oh shit."
Well, yeah,
that's good.
I think he had one of the brains on the shooting team. I don't think he was running away defense, but he wanted to. He was excited now, and he wanted to try. He went out it after the match. So on that point, let's talk about how a customer can get a hold of your gun? I mean, can they rent one at a gun store, or how do they buy the handgun, get the handgun in their hand to either shoot or at a gun store? If I want to buy this, where do I find it?
Absolutely, yeah. So we've got a great network of dealers nationwide. I think we've got about, at this point, 150, 175 dealers. Obviously, it fluctuates. It's not a hard number because we have distribution as well. So there's dealers buying from distributors. But yeah, check with your local gun shop first. You can go directly to our website, which is oadefense.com. We have a dealer locator up the top there that will give you a map. You can plug in where you are, find the nearest store. A lot of the shops that have ranges, we do have a demo gun program to facilitate that. So we really encourage a lot of our dealers, if they've got a range or even access to a range nearby, to take advantage of that program, because ultimately, and he said it right, it's you're not going to buy a car you don't test drive. Yeah. And these things, they really do kind of speak for themselves. And especially if you are an avid shooter, you're going to pick this up and you're going to feel the difference between this trigger and what's going to be in your average striker gun or even a lot of other hammer fired guns. We put a lot of work into tuning it, and so to shoot it, to experience it, is to understand it. So I highly recommend find a shop that's got one as a demo. Keep an eye out on our social media. We go out to a lot of matches. We're out there shooting. If you see us at a match, just come ask us. We'll take you over to a demo bay. We'll let you put some rounds to the gun. A lot of times at these matches, we will actually have a dedicated demo set up there, if the match can accommodate that. So
I'm on social media, however viewers find is just OA Defense on Instagram.
OA.defense. Okay. Yeah, the dot's important because especially now with current social media, the shadow banning and throttling, it's very difficult. So you have to type it in character for character. So yeah, it's OA.defense on Instagram. And
there are fake accounts out there too. Or defense.
It's important. My wife reminds me that there's a lot of other knockoff G-code accounts on Instagram. I haven't figured out that. Yeah, I haven't figured out how to do that other than like complain through this forum. Like, please try to go to the actual channels with the actual information. But that's good. And I'm sure you got influencers out there that are trusted and probably doing well in the competition worlds that are running your stuff as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys out there that have done some great video reviews and everything, so you can find it on YouTube. All the big guys have had one or more of these come through and do their formats, a little bit different, but yeah, they do the different videos with them and talk about them. So yeah, there's plenty of content out there on them.
Okay. And then I know we're finishing the deal with between G Code and OA Defense, but probably again spitball on both sides. Probably at the end of the summer, you think that they'll be able to get our holsters?
Yeah, I think so. And then just same thing. They'll be available through our website. They'll be available through our dealers. Most of our dealers are already G Code dealers. Let's face it, they're in every gun shop, right? So it's the reason we wanted to work with you guys. So, it should be a pretty low barrier to entry, and you'll be able to get everything that you need pretty quickly and easily.
Okay, cool. What else do you guys want to talk about?
Oh man, we got all kinds of stuff in the pipeline. We can do this for hours.
Yeah.
So we've got, we're not just, one of the important things I think we have to point out is we're not just a company that makes guns and pushes guns. We invest back into the community.
Okay, hell, that's important.
Right. Whether it's private school shooting teams that we invest in, whether it's, I live on a cow ranch. I grew up bull riding. My 5-year-old and my 12-year-old ride bulls. We sponsor rodeos. We sponsor kids that ride in rodeos. We sponsor a great foster care facility called Kids to Love. We're working with 4EJ Smith, who plays Lloyd on Yellowstone.
Okay.
To push proceeds back into the Shriners Children's Hospital.
That's great.
Right, kid. We're all about, like, none of this is fun. None of this is American.
Yeah.
If you're not giving back to the country that we're lucky to live in.
Yeah, no, I agree. We work with Special Forces Charitable Trust. We try to help out Marine Scout Sniper Association.
Right.
I'm on the board of Marine Scout Sniper Heritage Foundation, and we help out the Citadel Combat Shooting Team as well as much as we can. I definitely agree. We're for-profit businesses, but again, if you're in America, that's the American way, not through handouts. It's give outs by people that care, that can help. I think lift everybody up. That's our straps. And then our taxes are lower too.
Amen. Yeah. So that's really kind of it. I mean, we're here. If you know of other shooting teams like Citadel team, stopped by and talked to us yesterday. I am a Citadel student working on the MBA there.
Are you?
Yeah. So
Cool.
it was
Kind of fun talking to them.
Small
world.
I'm like, hey guys, drop me a line.
Yeah.
I'll get you taken care of.
Well, actually that's funny enough. My sister and my brother-in-law are professors down there, not in the business department, but
Okay. Now my brother-in-law and father-in-law both went there.
Oh, really?
And so I was a god-awful high school student, and through the Army found the discipline required to actually complete my undergrad, and then I was like, well, I'm going to go to grad school because I got kids, and you got to show them that you never stop.
Yeah. No, that's again outstanding, and that's what I like talking about, just the people behind the company, because I think that's important. You understand the values of the humans running the company. We can sit here and say quality, 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 but I think when you understand the values in the human beings that are around, like, oh, but you better understand, like, we're not messing around, right?
Right.
And you guys are good people doing good things through good American institutions, and I don't want to go to school anymore though. I'd go get my MBA, but I don't blame you.
It's not fun at 2 a.m. to come home from working all day, or
Like we had taking a test after a match yesterday.
had a match yesterday, had to rush home and take an exam, and then get ready to go to dinner with some folks in town, and yeah, it's a lot on the plate, but I think it's important, right? Like, everybody talks about how great this company is, or G Code is, or SavTech and all, but nobody ever talks about the personal grinds that went there. And we have brand ambassador Scott Pearson, great dude, ugly as can be, but great dude.
I'm sure you're really good friends.
Yeah. But we were talking this morning over coffee, and it's like, hey man, like, before we ever go into a business arrangement with another company, the values have to align, right? Because I at least know at the base level, we're talking the same language. We care about the same things.
And making decisions from the same place, which is critical. Yeah.
No, I agree. I'm recently retired, so I'm probably pretty belt fed, but I'm used to having a discussion with another adult and generally because you're in uniform, or I went to the Citadel and you're in uniform, and you say a thing and you have a verbal agreement, the thing then gets done. So that's been a little awkward for me, obviously not with you guys or most of the folks that we do business with, but that has been a little awkward for me dealing with people out of uniform, because sometimes they're, with certain folks, their word isn't their bond. So that's odd. But that's what you're saying. Some of the reasons why we want to do the podcast is, I mean, YouTube's sort of where it's at right now, and I think people are interested in that. They see the product, but they want to know more about what's associated and behind the product. And I think hopefully this podcast will be a good opportunity for G-Code, not only just G-Code, but all of our different partners to explain that. And eventually, I want to be able to talk about, mental health and veterans issues, because a lot of our customers are veterans. Then those are important. Those are important issues too, because I remember just going every time I got to go to the VA and talk to the shrink. It's there's all the suicide questions. Or like, what are you doing? What are you doing to stay busy? And I'm like, well, I really like guns and reloading. And then if I get a new therapist, I have to clarify the first time I talk to him. But I'm not crazy. This is just what I enjoy doing. From around here. I grew up shooting guns and learned how to shoot a gun on family property in South Carolina. And yeah, my dad was a guy that let me shoot the 22 and then gave me the 12 gauge when I was 10. It didn't tell me the difference, in my eyes were that big, but that's how I learned to shoot. And that's just it's part of what we do. It's part of who we are. I was in the infantry for 27 years. This is like a natural extension of what I do. I hunt safely. I've taught all my kids how to shoot. My wife knows how to shoot. I mean, in my mind, that is a tool that is no different than a hammer.
Right.
And I'm going to use that for a specific thing. What I use that for can potentially be unfortunate, but I will use that as proficiently and as responsibly as I will use a hammer or a table saw. But yeah, so I went a couple different directions there, but eventually we want to continue to talk about veterans issues, responsible firearms issues, be able to acknowledge that, you can be a firearms guy and have it be cathartic and helpful.
100%.
And just a good, healthy hobby, and doesn't mean you're a weirdo.
It doesn't. And I mean, I may go a little bit different direction than, yes, you're crazy. We're all crazy.
Yeah, right. You're right. That's what my wife tells me. I'm back.
You have to embrace the crazy, and you'll thrive. But you hit on a lot of points, right? We wear our corporate values on the back of our shirts: faith, family, and freedom.
That's
right. We are very fortunate and very lucky to live in such a wonderful country, to love our God and love our families and take them. Same thing, right? My boys go hunting with me. 5-year-old, he's kind of not really into hunting right now, but 12-year-old would get after it. And, wife goes to the range with us. They all start young. And I think it's important. We talk about, our veterans and basically what we consider our world, right? Because I still live right outside of Bragg.
Yeah, I live right outside.
We don't just make these tools, but we hire the heroes to help us create them, right? It's our guys. The preponderance of our employees have a special operations background in some capacity. So when we sit here and talk about what makes this gun work or different, it's very cerebral people that know what they're talking about.
No, that's great. Yeah, and you have a product that will fail when it's needed, because you have humans that have been downrange in various situations that probably know what it's like to go click, or not get a part or have a part fail or something like that. I guess so. That's important.
And so you balance that with the competitive employees that we have that are competition shooters, because they're needed, and they're like, hey man, we can make this a little bit flatter.
Yeah.
We can make this a little bit faster. And we have such a phenomenal production team at the factory. They blow my mind when I'm like, there's no way we could get any flatter than we are right now. And they're like, oh, but look at what I did. Yeah. But wait, watch this.
I think that is a good blend, because even though the soft guys probably have special permissions to change weapons and stuff, they still didn't necessarily grow up in an environment where they're going to go downrange with this high quality of a handgun. So when you bring in the competitive guys that know sort of the top end requirements, that aren't settling for sometimes, lowest bidder government stuff, maybe not as much in SOCOM, but different than a guy that's just going to buy whatever the best is out there. I think to me, that sounds like a huge a huge cross pollination of the best of both worlds from an operator perspective and a competition
I
perspective.
think so.
And that blend, I mean, you just touched on it. That's where that was the kind of the ethos behind this, the genesis for this entire project. And the tagline that we use in a lot of our marketing is race gun DNA and duty gun reliability.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
And like you said, coming from both of those backgrounds and bringing them together, you get the technological understanding from the competition side, you get the application understanding from the special operations community, and being able to bring those together into one product that kind of embodies both sides of that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's a lot of our concealed carry holsters. That's how Scott developed it. I mean, he's a military guy, but just he carries. Everybody here carries. He dealt in the early days, did a lot of work with, folks in that community to make sure that all of our holsters are exactly what you would want and provide the service capability that you'd need. So again, like you talked about values, our tagline is quality is all we sell, or quality is the difference. But again, you said faith, family, and freedom. In freedom, I mean, you can't get to quality is all we sell without having values, without having employees that'll go look at this holster and like, I probably could sell that, and no one would notice. We don't have that. That is not G code quality. That goes in the second spin, and my CEO knows that's my problem to deal with, and that's my problem to deal with. And that the guy on the production line does not have me looking over his shoulder going like, we can make $6 more today if you just pass that one past QC
And so
when we sell it.
A business perspective, like it sucks sometimes, right? Because it's money going down the drain. You're like, God.
When you're looking at the P&L and you got some seconds that you could do something with, it could make the difference in a monthly balance statement by pushing a couple of units.
It could, but
past QCs. Well,
It all disappears.
Your reputation, I think.
And so your reputation, I said this previously and I'll say it again here today. Our team, not the two of us, but the rest of the team is so freaking phenomenal that I would dare any 2011 style or 1911 style company to take their 3 best competitors and put them against our 3 best competitors, and I'll win every fucking time.
So SHOT Show 2026, we were talking about maybe throwing down a range day and seeing if you can't get some other 1911, 2011 companies to throw down and do a head-to-head challenge. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, whether it's SHOT 2026 or even a standalone event, we've been having some conversations internally about how do we bring the industry together for a common cause and have some fun doing it, right? And so one of the concepts that we're playing with is kind of a head-to-head, throwing the gauntlet down. Any manufacturer, bring out your best shooters, and whether it's a pistol match, a 3-gun match, a PRS match, whatever it is, set something up, but the whole thing is going to be for charity. So all the entry fees, everything, the prize table donations, all of it gets raffled off, and we raise a ton of money for charity. But at the same time, have some friendly competition, bring the industry together, and get everybody to put their money where their mouth is, right? I mean, how many other companies out there are building a product, but you rarely see the guys that work for that company out there at the competitions, out there at the matches, out there using their products. That's
you guys did as a group. You guys came out and put your money where your mouth was.
And it's not a side.
I didn't. I sat there at the table and watched everybody shoot. I should have shot yesterday. I should have shot.
But honestly, it's not, and that has really nothing to do with us. It's just we want to see the industry start embracing the products that they're making. And listen, I know there's a lot of other companies that do that. But let's put it in the public eye. Let's have the influencers come out. Let's have people come out and cover it. And even if we fall flat on our face, we don't care. It's about raising money for a good cause.
I was going to say, if it's done for charity, nobody loses.
Exactly.
But to be perfectly honest, you're competitive. I'm saying this in general. You guys might disagree, but the quality of firearms we're talking about, I couldn't imagine anyone would lose. And then certainly no one would lose if the money is going to charity.
100%. Everybody wins in that instance, and that's what you want to see happen, yeah.
So let's say
G-Code will sponsor all the holsters for that.
Right? You heard it here first, right? They're going to sponsor up all the holsters, but I would love to see the 2311 Atlas and
MPA, Nighthawk, Wilson, any of the guys out there.
Any of the big companies go head to head and say, do I 1000% believe my company is going to win? Absolutely.
Sure.
Nerds. But, let's say we all throw in $2,500.
Yeah.
And the winner gets to pick what charity that money goes to. You don't get to keep any of it, but you get to pick where it goes to.
That's your win. That's what you're taking home. You're going to support your charity of choice. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a great idea. How do we get that done other than throwing down the gauntlet on a.
I'm gonna tell you right now, none of y'all had the balls to take us up on the offer.
You heard it here first. Wow. Okay. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, but certainly, yeah, we'll put. If nothing else, I'm sure you can contact us via our support email if anybody out there is interested. I'm sure I got a lot of people in the industry have my information. So if you're interested, give me a call. We're partnered. You're partnered with a couple of nonprofits, and I'm sure there's got to be someone out there that'd take you up with it. And again, whether it's Osprey or Sanctum 1791 is down here. We just did some really great work with Wollman, Florida. There's a lot of really great high-end ranges out there that I'm sure would love to sponsor a challenge like that, competition.
And that's you just said, how do we get this started? And that's the next step, right? Let us know if you guys want to make this happen. Get in touch with us. Get in touch with Greg. Let's start building a list. Then we go, okay, we've got the competitors. Now we build this event. We find a range to host it. We find all the different sponsors for the prize tables. So, yeah, but we need to make sure that there's people who are actually going to step up to the challenge. So.
Yeah, and I like the idea of using somebody like Osprey, a completely third-party entity that's going to create the match. So
yeah, they do the arrows. There's no Kansas City refs.
Yeah, right. Involve put some big boy rules in there and some hard lanes, right? Like let's do some shoot, move, and communicate.
That's actually, I went to my past life. I went one of these days. Stop talking about it, but I got to go over to the UK and do a CO Sergeant Major pistol comp, and that's when all your Marines and the British Royal Marines are sitting there watching you, and you're in full kit, and then the buzzer goes off. That we won. Sergeant Major one. We did beat the Brits, but not by much. But that especially when the leadership's out there, and that's a big deal, and it's fun. It's fun for the employees. We won like by one target, and the Brits ran out of ammo. I had like one round left, but it was, me and my sergeant major still talk about it, but it's neat. And it's something that I think people are excited about and could definitely get behind. All right. So what, do we need to talk about anything else? We hit a whole litany of items. Good match at Osprey. Both companies are interested in doing some good business with Savage Tacticians, vet-owned business. We got some business going on that customers will see later this calendar year, and we got a challenge to do a head-to-head,
get it on,
or head-to-head competition. Things we covered a lot in 40 minutes or so.
Yes, sir.
Do you want OADefense.com?
Yep, OADefense.com, OA.defense on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook as well, but most of our social, we plug right up to our Instagram. So that's the easiest way to kind of follow us, what we're doing, see the content, see where we're going to be, and what's coming down the pipelines.
Okay. Dealer locator on your web store, so you can find where dealers have it, touch it, taste it, feel it. We're tacticalholsters.com. You could just Google G code. If you're Mill or LE, I've run into a lot of folks. We do have a Mill LE discount. Just get a hold of our customer service. Ask them for that.
That's a great point to mention as well. We do the same. We have a military and law enforcement first responder discount. It's down at the bottom of our website, the footer there. So if that is your background, we absolutely want to reward you for serving your community and your country. So get in touch with us, go through that. It's a real simple little one-page application, and then you'll be able to take advantage of that discount as well.
Yeah, and for us, you just got to get a hold of our customer service, and I'll give you the code. But we definitely, and there's, if integrity is where it's at. If you tell us we're not gonna check your credentials. But yeah, we want to make sure we support Mill LE, retired, etc. So at least we could do. But yeah, thanks for tuning in to another Range 5 podcast. Again, Greg Jones, COO and leadership of OA Defense. Again, OADefense.com. Check them out. Great product. To be paired with G-Code holsters in a store near you in the near future. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.